Good morning, afternoon, evening, good night. That's it for me. Hope you all had fun. Shout out to Music Heals watching over somewhere else. Hold on just one moment. I'm gonna get rid of this because the broadcast has begun. Ladies and gentlemen, hello, Bob Doyle here, and you are watching the Law of Attraction Q&A live. Well, actually, as you hear me, I said that a few seconds ago. That's kind of how delays work and things like that. So I'm just doing a few little technical, goofy things that I do when I do these broadcasts. If you're new to these, well, welcome. Hi, Sarah. Welcome to all of you. What we do here, well, first of all, a little introduction in case you don't know who I am. Like I said, Bob Doyle, Law of Attraction Q&A, live. One of the featured teachers from the film and book, The Secret. I normally have a copy of it sitting right here to show you his credibility. Today, well, I dropped the ball. Hi, Sharon. So, Music Heals has joined us here, and she has said to share my experience and practical techniques to achieve our dreams, I guess, using the law of attraction. And that is, of course, what this whole broadcast is about learning how to do that. And so up until January 16th, I will be doing this every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. and answering your questions. And it works very simply. You ask the questions and I answer them. And if you're a little low on questions at a particular point, I just make stuff up to say, which I'm fully prepared to do at any time related to the law of attraction. Hi, Steve. Steve is in our current 90-day coaching group, and that's what we're doing right now. Is I haven't been doing these for a while because I've been in the midst of facilitating our 90-day group coaching intensive, which is coming to a close right around Christmas time. And so now that as we kind of wind things down and prepare for a new round, which will be coming up in February, I like to take this space and come in here and do some law of attraction stuff, meet some new people. Always great to meet new people. Hi, Lori. And Angie. So Angie it is evening where Angie is, and I can see, as soon as I went to click her comment, it went on to someone else's. But here she is. Angie is in. Good evening. All right, that's a piece of trivia no one really needed, but I like to share the audience experience. So what I generally take about 30, 45 minutes, depending on the number of questions that we have related to the law of attraction. So I'm gonna, until you guys have a specific question, I did come prepared to talk about one thing, but Music Heals questions, and I wish I knew your real name, but Music Heals question about just share my experience and practical techniques to achieve our dreams using the law of attraction is wide open to talking about, okay, well, what are the basics of making this stuff work? And I know a lot of you already probably know it, and certainly if you're in my group, you know it. Hi, Sinovi. I want to say Sinovi every time I see your name, but I'm very, very uncertain about it. You may have even told me in the past. Anyway, it's great to have you here. The law of attraction is really about us moving into vibrational alignment with the experience of reality we want. You know, we live in this energetic universe. Everything in the universe is energy, including us and our thoughts and our beliefs and all of these things. Everything has a vibration. Things that are matter have a vibration. Things that we can't see and touch, they all have a vibration. And there's all these rules in place as to how we, human beings, a configuration of energy in and amongst ourselves, are interpreting this sea of energy that we are living in and a part of what we're calling the universe. So we have actually been built to be able to guide our experience of reality. And that's really what the law of attraction, the study of it, I guess, is about. How do we do that, Bob? Because I've tried it, doesn't seem to work for me. What's going on? I made a vision board, nothing. Right? So ever since The Secret came out, there's been a lot of conversation like that. There's people who've gotten great results. There's people who've gotten no results. There's people who've tried to do it and then gone backwards in their life. And there's reasons for every single bit of it. And so what I have been doing in this space is trying to, make sense of all this information and show you what obviously isn't true and show you what I believe to be true based on science and experience and years of being in this work. So the very first thing in terms of a practical, Jory's here, practical implementation of this is to know what you want. What is your vision? And this is an area where people tend to skip around. And they skip ahead, or they don't really take the time to get clear on what is their vision and why. And what they generally try to do is, quote unquote, solve their problems using the law of attraction. And that's understandable, obviously. You've got challenges in your life, and then you hear about this law of attraction thing, and you hear about, well, I can visualize this and visualize that, and then it'll come true. What? Right? So the first thing you do is you start thinking about, okay, what do I want to change in my life? Right? And so, but what we normally do is, instead of going, how would I like to change it for the better, like totally put our thoughts on what we really want, we think about all the crappy stuff we want to change. I hate my financial situation. I hate my career. I hate my spouse. I hate my blah, 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 right? So I'm going to use this to change all these problems I have. And when you have an understanding of how the law of attraction really works, you'll understand that when you put your focus on all these problems that you're trying to solve, you are just spinning this nonstop conversation with the universe that says, I have problems. We've been taught in this very linear way, like you have a problem, now you have to go through all these steps to solve it, and it has to be logical and blah, blah, blah. Well, the universe doesn't work that way. We've created that. Man has created that. And so we get really stuck on this idea that we can just visualize something and move into alignment with things and the universe will take care of it. It just doesn't make any sense to us whatsoever. We haven't been taught that way, right? Hi, Dan. Major shout out from Skeggy Farm, Belter, England. Never even heard of Belter until today. So we've all learned something here. And Diz Darley, hi. And Denise is here, just catching up. Marion, you got a notification. Will miracles never cease? So, a lot of time has to be taken, really, to figure out what your vision is. And I know this, and people who are in my coaching group will tell you, some of them are still working on just their initial vision. Because people come in thinking, oh, yeah, I know what I want. I want $1 million. I want a big car, blah, 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 or whatever. And then they realize, wow, I don't even know why I really want that. Is that really in alignment with who I am? Sure, it'd be fun, but why? Where's the passion in all of this? So, we work a great deal in our programs about, at the coaching programs specifically, about getting people really clear on their vision so they know why they're doing any of this in the first place. We are not wanting to run away from problems with the law of attraction. We're trying to create a whole new, basically energetic portrait to walk into, right? We get to create a whole new thing. We can use the information from the past, the things we don't like, to be clear, like, okay, well, I want the opposite of this, right? So, but instead of saying, I don't want, you think, I do want, and you really get into that feeling. I'm oversimplifying this just a tad because we've got 30, 45 minutes to do this, and I'm just trying to give you the basic idea. But knowing what you want is the first step, and then, then the process of moving into alignment happens, and you do that through things like visualization and all kinds of different exercises that make you have the feeling, that cause you to have the feeling that your experience of reality is, this vision is happening now. That's what sends this energetic signal. This is very challenging for people when they're really in the midst of a problem. It's very difficult for people to just, well, the questions. And what's really happening here is the ego. Now, the people who have worked with me are no stranger to this concept of ego, but I will tell you that since I started doing these coaching programs, the prevalence of ego, the significant role that the ego plays in keeping us from doing what we're supposed to be doing in our life, right, and is huge. It's really huge. And there's a lot of sort of misconceptions about the ego as well, like it's the enemy. We've got to kill it. We've got to crush it. It's bad. Right? And none of those things is true either. And we don't really want to go into this work with that kind of combative energy around it. There's a reason that the ego is trying to keep us limited. It's actually trying to keep us safe. And it doesn't want us to take any risks of changing things how they are, even if how they are right now is icky. You have to understand that a lot of the ego was formed when you were a child. Right, with input that you got from parents and society and so on. You learned all your limitations, right? People said things to you when you were forming wiring in your brain, and now it seems real. And yet you can still look out in the world and go, clearly not everybody shares the same limiting beliefs about money, for example, that I do. They're doing just fine. So you know that your belief about money being hard to come by and so on isn't true, but your ego's saying, well, it's hard for you, right? But the thing is, that really makes no sense. Getting anything that you want using the law of attraction is generally going to require you taking some kind of action, right? The action can be very, very subtle, or it can be massive action. But if you don't take the action, you're not doing the dance, right, with the universe, right? And so your ego is going to try to stop you from taking action. Why? Because your ego is your sense of identity. Now, this isn't the first time a lot of you are hearing this, but it's it's huge. It's really huge. And it's why people struggle so much with the law of attraction. And if you can get this, you'll understand why taking as much time as necessary to get a handle on this ego thing and the impact that it has on your everyday decision making. It's really, really huge. Your ego is your sense of identity. When you and you may have been carrying it around for quite a while, all these limiting beliefs and what's possible and not possible and whatever. Right? Things that you know you could benefit from changing, but your ego's telling you, nope, that's just how you are. You're not going to change. You'll never change. Right? You've never been able to do that. Why do you think you can do it? Any of those conversations. But your ego is wired that way, and the reason it's trying to do that is because it's trying to maintain its sense of identity. For you to move into a whole new, escalated, wonderful way of being and living your life, guess what? You've got to be a different person. And that person is not going to be able to carry around these beliefs of limitation and you're not good enough and who are you to do this. But that's what the ego is made of. Your sense of identity has been made of this. So when you start to threaten your sense of identity, your ego feels like you are trying to kill it. Kill yourself, kill whatever. And so self-preservation mode at all costs kicks in. And so it tells you, don't do anything to change anything. And here's a million reasons from your past why. And because it's all in here, it feels so real and logical. And you're right, I can't possibly do it. Dan, let's see. Haven't even read the question, but I'm looking at, well, let's see. Go to the gym 4 times a week, and now my ex-girlfriend cheated on me with an absolutely fat bloke with a bad word beard. Can you explain why this is interesting too? Okay, well, so now we've got the S-bomb in our broadcast. Now it's real. Now we're raw and edgy. The relationship thing and how people interact, that is a whole different thing. But I can tell you this, Dan. Ideally, you want to be in a relationship where you're in alignment, right? You share a vision. You want to be with a person who would not engage in that behavior, right? Who would, in fact, not cheat on you. So although this gal, who I don't know how long you've been together, it could be, whatever. However long people come in and out of our lives and we learn from them and we have good experiences, we have bad experiences, whatever. But then, sometimes we evolve apart. Sometimes we realize, we're not the match that we thought, and there's nothing wrong with that division. But what you discovered about this person is, okay, she cheated on you. Well, that's not who you want, so you move on. Now, I know it's a lot easier said than done because it's a highly emotional issue, and you're trying to figure out why. Guess what? It's about her. It's about her stuff, what is important to her insecurities, or her whatever. You may never figure it out. She may not know what drives her. A lot of us don't know what drive our decisions. A lot of us do really goofy things that we look back on and go, why would I have done that? So there's no way you're going to figure it out. And I can't tell you why, but I can tell you for sure that right now, you guys are not in energetic alignment right now. And the worst thing you can do right now is try and obsess and figure out why she did this or why that happened, because there's so much going on energetically in her, in this guy, in you. All of it has to come into play. Now, if we knew each other and we were working together for a really long time and I could talk to you and learn more about your story, her story, then we might be able to get some insight, and your ego might be a little bit satisfied. Why did this happen to me, or whatever it is that's calling to you. But really, it's just like you learned something. You got valuable feedback. Oh, this gal is not the type I want to be with for the rest of my life. It was close. There was a lot of great stuff, and I know now what I really like about what I want in relationships, but I'm also clear that this one little detail about cheating, not so much. Hi, Rachel. I'm just looking at your questions. Allowing and believing is not easy. You're correct. And I'll tell you, one of the things that makes it, I'll just share that with you. One of the things that makes that true is because a lot of times we go through this work on our own in sort of an island, right? And that's why we started the group coaching. Because look, I know I've been doing this for a really long time. And the way that I had been teaching mostly is through the Wealth Beyond Reason program. And that's a digital program. You can still get it if you want to. wealthbeyondreason.com. Have at it. But what I realize is that in the self-study world, a lot of people just peter out. The information can be and is great. But if you're not taking action on it, if you don't have accountability, if you don't have a support system, if the first time things get rough or your ego yells at you, you can't do this, you just believe it, then obviously you will not get the results. And so why we do group coaching is for that accountability, right? You know, it's not easy to sneak off and hide in the corner in our groups, as our group members will tell you. And you don't want to sneak off in the corner. You don't want to hide from your passion. You don't want to hide from your vision, but your ego does, because it doesn't know what's on the other side. It does not like the unknown. And so, and remember, all of this is also wiring in your brain. It takes time to rewire. It took your whole life to wire exactly how you are right now. And depending on how many years you've been on this planet, that could be a long time. So people who learn about the law of attraction go, well, I've been working on it for a month and nothing's happened, are living in a fantasy world, because it's not magic, guys. It can occur that way depending on your level of resistance and how allowing you are and things like that. But you know, you've got these things. You've got to be able to do the dance, as I was talking about before, which basically is you create the vision, you send out the vibration, the universe, which you are a part of and not separate from, it's always responding to what you're putting out there. You are having an impact. Your every thought sends out some vibration. It doesn't just vanish. It doesn't just vanish. It goes out in there, right? And it has a vibration, and certain things will resonate with it and certain things will not. The things that do become a part of your experience, the things that don't do not, or move out. It's really quite simple, but as human beings it's difficult to implement because we got to figure everything out. We got to know every little thing, and we want it to happen right now, and we don't understand why it's not. How come it happened for them and not for me so fast, and da 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 da. It's just how we're wired. We want to compare, we want it to hurry, and guys, it's just not like that. But you can do this. But it takes consistency, and it takes an understanding of what the law of attraction is, not what the fantasy about it. And look, what it is cool enough. You don't need it to be any more magical. You really don't. Genevieve says, my ego doesn't want me to be happy, to relax and be happy. I asked for an answer. Whoops, here you are, Bob. Thank you for sharing. Oh, it wasn't in a fun way. Oh, thank you. See, I like to have fun with this. And look, guys, if you're new to me and you haven't watched this stuff before, you know I can go a little off the rails. Or no, you don't know, but I can. Because I love to have fun with this. You have to have fun with it. People who approach the law of attraction work as work, and I take it seriously, and all that, just you have to think about the energy you're bringing into it. If that heaviness, if that seriousness is what you want for the rest of your life, fine, bring it into the conversation. If you want to have a law of attraction manifesting experience that's filled with heaviness and stress and anxiety and worrying about whether you're doing it right, fine, think that way. Or you can have fun with it. Laugh your way through it. Look at the ego and realize how ridiculous some of the things it tells you are. Again, a lot of this takes getting it out of your head and onto a piece of paper or something. Some way that you can hear, or I wish I had, where's my hamster? I have an ego busting tool, but it is on the other side of the room. I'm sorry, it's hard not to compare yourself with others. You have to let go of logic. These are all comments that are getting here, and it would be too cumbersome for me to post them over and over and over again. So here's one from Yogesh. Okay, it says, I had applied to a doctorate program in a university, but I did not get selected. I was totally convinced that I will get in. I had announced to my family as well, but it didn't work. I'm disappointed. I hear this kind of stuff all the time. And this is a prime example of us, our ego trying to decide what's best. Now here's the thing, Yogesh, a doctorate program, there's a reason you entered the doctorate program, right? Ideally, you have a long-term vision about who you're going to be and the impact you're going to have in the world as a result of getting this doctorate program. This is what you believe. You believe that the impact you will have on the world will come to you as a result of getting this doctorate program. But your vision should be on the impact you want to have on the world. Okay? Now, your impact, the impact you eventually want to have on the world may not have happened had you gotten in this doctorate program right now, or this particular one, or at this time. You may have wanted to do it right now. This is maybe your timetable, but you have told the universe, I want it to look like this. And the universe has knowledge of all things past, present, future. And says, all right, well, if this is the impact you want to make, this isn't the fit. I know you want it right now, but this one isn't. But just keep taking action. Do not give up. Don't go, well, I guess the law of attraction doesn't work, because it's not about us forcing things into being, right? It's like relationships, right? You want a relationship that is going to bring you fulfillment and love, trust, caring, understanding, fun. You have a goal for a relationship. Now, there's a person in the world that you look at and go, it's got to be that person. She's the one. I know she or he they're the one. But they may not be. But if your ego is stuck, now I like the way she looks, so she's the one, right? But you've got a vision for somebody who the universe knows this is not an energetic match. It may seem like that. People act very differently when they're in the courting mode and all of this other stuff. I mean, how many times have you gotten in a relationship and go, this wasn't in the brochure, right? So we can't get stuck on, it's got to be that one. It's got to be this job. It's got to be that doctorate program, because we've told the universe a very specific thing about what we want our long-term vision to be. And it says, okay, you hold that vision, I will get you there. This isn't the gal. This isn't the doctorate. This isn't the time. Let it go. But keep moving. Hi, Angela. Oh, I see a pinned. How come Sean's comment isn't over here? How long ago did Sean? Oh, there it is. Sorry. My bad. My bad. Here we go. Sean says, can you help me and thank you, Don, for pinning. Can you help me understand what is happening when I experience seesaw results? Things go well for a while, then disaster, and how to avoid it. First of all, energy, life, the whole thing, it's a cycle. It's a wave. We have ups, we have downs. It's what we do with the downs that matters. If we have our down cycle and we go, oh, I knew it, too good to be true. What do? We take that down and then we add all this emotion and energy to it and just make it bigger. Rather than just go, okay, I'm having the down cycle today, but you can still keep your eye on the prize. You can still hold your vision. Your ego doesn't want you to. Your ego says, see, I told you you shouldn't go for it. Now just quit right now so we can go right back to doing what I know how to do, which is whine and complain. Right? So there are the ups and the downs. It's all part of the journey, and it's all, but I will also say that the more that you don't get engaged with the emotion of the down and make it mean things, I believe those downs can be fewer and far between, and certainly less emotionally intense. There's so many nuances to this. It's like when we have the downs, first of all, we define it as a down. That's number one. We're the ones who go, here's the circumstances of reality. I'm going to interpret this as a downtime. It's a total choice. You do not have to. Yeah, it's a complete choice. Oh, my bills are late. This is a downtime. It's still a choice. There's no absolute necessity for you to take a downward emotional spiral when circumstances change, but we do it. But it's about what do we make it mean? And then what is that when we have a downtime, and it's going to be different for everyone. A series of voices is going to go off. I knew you couldn't do it. You're a loser. Whatever those things are, whatever your voices are, whatever those things that the ego knows will get you to just stop taking action. And remember, the ego is you, okay? You're doing this. It's all this internal job. It's not the outer enemy. I just really want that clear, because a lot of people take that, that approach. Thank you, Sinavi. And you're welcome, Yogesh. Hi, Dawn. Let's see. Kyle is here. Let's post his comment. Are we someday going to realize that what we desire is joy? And when we follow and live with more joy no matter what, avalanches of what in harmony with joy just come and come, which may or may not include exactly that degree or that particular thing. Keep moving. Really great message. Thank you, Bob. Couldn't have said it better myself, Kyle. Should we look at it again? We should, except that I push the right button. Let Kyle do the teaching while I sip my last. Now it's getting lukewarm. When the coffee's gone, which is almost. So Senevieve says, I am my own enemy. So let's be really careful about that kind of stuff too. Now, we say things to make to illustrate things and to make points and this type of thing, like, but we want to be careful about the energy of our words, because they're very telling and they're very potent, right? When we make certain word choices, we may say, "Oh, I was just saying that," but they have meanings that are connected to all sorts of your wiring. So it's very important to understand when you're using limiting language and justifying it. Because your ego will say, "Oh, it doesn't mean anything. It's just a word." It's not just a word. It's chosen for a reason. There is some level of meaning to it. Now, this enemy thing is a light example. I mean, a lot of times, say, "Oh, I'm so stupid," or I'm such an idiot, that kind of stuff. And we don't, if you were pressed, you would say, "No, I don't really think I'm an idiot." But you've got that conversation, that automatic response. That's very telling, as innocent as it may be. And a lot of times the ego likes to give itself credit for acknowledging its own stuff. "Oh yeah, I know I've got a weakness in this area," right? Or I know I tend to beat myself up. So the ego's giving you this little taste of, "Oh, well, see, you acknowledged it, so that's good." But that's only half the deal. Now, what are you going to do with it? Right? The ego likes to pat itself on the back for going, "Okay, I'm gonna let you see that you do in fact have this limiting belief." But then what it does is it uses it as an excuse to prolong the conversation. I always do this. This is a thing I've always struggled with this, right? The ego loves it when you can do that, because it thinks that it's making you feel like, "Oh, I get it. I get what my issues are," right? And I've got your number, ego. And the ego's going, yeah, you got it. But you're not taking action either because you believe what I said. See? Thank you, Carrie Ann. That's very nice of you to say. See, Denise says, "I am my own best friend." That's a nice thing to say to yourself. Let's say it out loud together. I am my own best friend. Feels good. I think we should all say it. Now, I know you men aren't going to do it. I'm not going to whisper that right now. But maybe later in your car, you can just say, "I am my own best friend." Yeah, it feels pretty good. I am my own best friend. And by the end of the night, I am my own best friend. That's you singing out over the mountaintops or whatever. Okay. So look, we're just about at the half-hour mark. If you've got any last questions, get them in right now. But in the meantime, you can be thinking, you can say, "Oh, okay, I get it. He's going to do this every Tuesday. So I'll get my questions together, and then next Tuesday morning, I'll be ready for him. He won't know what hit him." But anyway, last one. Here we go. See? Oh, Steve. Steve did say it. Steve said, "I am my own best friend." Thank you, Steve. Thank you for leading the way for all the men on this broadcast. And for putting me in my place for being so presumptuous. Who am I to tell you men what you will and will not do? What kind of limiting belief bullcrap was that? I just called myself out right here on this very broadcast. See, and that's the way it works. We're all in this together, believe it or not. That's the way it's supposed to be, this human race. We've got this amazing opportunity to experience something while we're in this energetic form that we don't know, but probably is a very unique opportunity in our existence as energetic clusters. We don't know what we were before, for sure. We don't know what we're going to be after, but right now we've got all these senses. We've got all this wide range of emotion, and we have desires and passions and all of these things. We have intuition. We've been given everything we need to create an experience while we're in this form that is out of control and incomparable and unique. And yet our ego spends much of our life telling us why we can't do those things, why we can't have this opportunity. And just remember, none of it's true. It's all based on stuff that you were told based on the limiting beliefs of others who got them from others, and a combination of others and their own experience. But remember that your experience is going to be it's going to be reflective of where you're at vibrationally. But Bob, what about when bad things happen to me? It doesn't mean you did anything wrong. It just gives you some feedback. Whoa, let's explore what's happening here. Okay. I'm going to wrap this up right now. Whoops, that's not the right music. Hold on. We got to have the right music. Otherwise, everyone's just going to get confused. What is this? Don't forget tonight also, as long as I've got your attention, tonight right here on, well, if you're watching on YouTube, it's not here, it's somewhere else. But I'm doing my digital currency broadcast, Introduction to Digital Currency, for those of you who are looking at it, interested in it, perplexed by it, scared of it, whatever, doing a series on it. I am not the expert. I'm bringing in experts, and we're going through this journey together. So that's tonight at 6 o'clock on the Bob Doyle page at Facebook, facebook.com/Bob Doyle Show. And you'll see that that's scheduled for 6. Otherwise, next Tuesday morning, right here, we'll be doing this all again, answering your questions, etc., etc. I've loved my time with you. Always do, always will.